Happy Friday, everybody. Andy and Steve from WagerTalk.com. Welcome to the Road to Millions on this Friday, September 29th. We're going to go over quite a bit today, guys. We're going to go over six bets. They're all player props that we like for this Sunday. We're also going to go over our fade of the day, our sleeper of the day. Got a really nice stat of the day coming at you. And actually, it relates somewhat to something we talked about earlier this season. So we're going to talk
Yeah.
out some possible regression coming our way, and then we'll go over our survivor picks. So let's get into it. And guys, while you're watching, please hit the like button. Just stop and hit the like button for us. Really appreciate it. Let's YouTube and Wager Talk know that we're doing a good job for everybody. So first off, Steve, we went back and forth between Musgrave and Jordan Love over his pass attempts, and man, sometimes it's better be lucky than good, huh?
Yeah, for sure. We Love got there right at the end for us, and luckily we avoided the Musgrave concussion. That would have sunk that play for us. If we had played that one, then obviously would have been a loser. But Love gets there. Obviously, he had to throw a lot down the stretch to try to keep up, try to catch up. He didn't get there in the end, but cash the ticket for us. Went over his pass attempts for the night at 32 and a half. Got to I believe 36. So
Yeah,
good night for us there.
yeah, he got over. And I, I got to tell you, listen, I have David Montgomery in my big money fantasy league, and as much as I love that performance last night, I'm not quite sure how you go from questionable to 30 carries. Could someone explain to the Lions you don't need to rush him that much at the end of the game when you're up
Yeah,
a couple scores? As David Montgomery fantasy owners, we'd really like to use him at the end of the season, not run him into the ground when he's coming off of an injury. Oh man! All right, well let's get to it. Six best bets of the day. All right, I'll go first. My first one is Tyler Boyd. This is going to surprise everyone. Did you know, Steve? Tyler Boyd had 17 targets the last two games.
wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know that off the top
I,
of my head. That's staggering though.
I didn't either until I saw the number. I was like, 3.5 receptions. Why is it so? Oh, he has 17 targets, five catches against the Rams, six against the Ravens. So not only is he getting to four, but he's getting to 5 and 6. And I mean, this is just a goodie. Fading these teams that have bad secondaries and good rush defenses. They're facing the Titans. Titans give up 25 completions a game. Obviously, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are going to get those, but Tyler Boyd, he's just kind of that solid guy that's always there when you need a clutch catch on like third down or he's just he's a really nice weapon for the Bengals and they're using him. So I'll take all those targets and all those completions against a bad Tennessee Titans secondary. So Tyler Boyd, kind of a sneaky one, over 3.5 receptions there. Jerome Ford, fantasy darling, but you're going under as rushing. What do you like?
Yeah, you're right. He is great for fantasy, and I was going to mention that he's great for touchdowns, receptions, receiving yards, but he's rushing yards has been a little bit different though. He has a 160 rushing yards, but 69 of them are on that one carry that he got when he first got into action. So take away that carry, and it hasn't been that pretty for Ford so far here. The big thing I found here was that he lacks vision. He gets tackled behind the line of scrimmage 46% of the time so far this season. And in his career, that number is 51%. Nick Chubb, 25%. So
Wow.
he just doesn't have the vision that Chubb had. He's not the running back, obviously, that Chubb was. And we have some other options now, kind of, Kareem Hunt. He is questionable, so we'll see what happens with him. But I've noticed also that Pierre Strong has had his carries increase in recent weeks. I'm not sure that the Browns are really happy with Ford's performance thus far. He's facing a tough defense this week in Baltimore, eighth best rush defense. They held Mixon to 59 and Pierce to 38. Sounds like a good recipe for the under for this one. Give me Jerome Ford under 49 and a half rushing yards.
Love it. Yeah, I mean his stats are pretty inflated with that one massive play when he came in after Nick Chubb went out. I got to shout out to the some of the people in our comment section and especially in the Prop It Up group. Have been saying Mike Evans over 4.5 receptions. So I got to shout out to the audience here. Yeah, he gets it every game. 6 against Minnesota, 6 against Chicago. He had 5 against Philadelphia when they had the ball 21 minutes. 21 minutes of possession, and he still gets his 5 catches. So they're playing the Saints. It's a great defense. This game could be wonky. We don't know what Carr's situation is going to be. I would guess that Carr is out. So it could be where the Buccaneers go from 21 minutes to in the mid 30s if the Saints offense is struggling without Carr in there. So yeah, I just listen. Sometimes audience gives us some really great plays. Mike Evans, big name guy, but this over receptions play has been really, really good. So the trend is your friend on this one. I'll keep playing Mike Evans over 4.5 receptions. You're going with another running back on the under. Derrick Henry. He's losing some carries and touches, not as explosive. What do you like about Derrick Henry under here?
Seems like Derrick Henry's finally been worn down after all these years of, so many carries in multiple games just stacking up. He he's went under this number now in 2 of 3 weeks so far. He only had 20 rushing yards last week against Cleveland. He's also went 15 or less carries in 2 of these 3 games, so his workload is way down. And the Bengals just seem to have his number. They held Henry to 38 last year, and then they held him to 62 in the postseason the prior season. So they've held him under this total in both games in recent years. And this is basically the same defense for the Cincinnati Bengals. And then on the other side of things, the Titans' offensive line is worse than it was last season. So this is the same Bengals defense shut him down last year, and we have a worse offensive line for the Titans. This one sets up, again, Titans, Bengals, low-scoring game. Feels to me like an under here for Henry. Give me his under on his rushing yards.
Love it. Love that you're going 2 running backs under their rushing total. Love that one. I'm going to go to Roschon Johnson. And, I talked about, me and Steve talked about this earlier this week, that Chicago's faced some pretty tough rush defenses recently, and that we were interested in getting some good numbers on Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson. So I'm really interested in this one. So Roschon Johnson, 4 carries for 32 yards against Tampa. That's still over this 31.5. And then against Kansas City in the massive blowout, he gets 8 carries for 38 yards. That's over this total. And you cannot get a better matchup in the NFL than the Denver Broncos. So he went from the 12th and 13th best run defenses, that's Tampa and that's Kansas City, to the absolute worst defense. We know what happened in Miami. But don't forget Brian Robinson. The Commanders put up 35 on this Denver offense. Brian Robinson had 87 yards. He had 4.8 yards a carry. Not great. So I'm just looking to fade this Denver Broncos rush defense. Even Josh Jacobs had 48 yards. He didn't have very many carries, but this rush defense is just really bad. And if you're the Bears, I'm not sure why you would be trying to throw the ball a whole lot. That hasn't worked. So I would expect Fields to rush, Herbert to rush, and Roschon Johnson to rush. And Johnson's got the lowest rush total. He's got a long of 29 yards 2 weeks ago. He had an 11-yard rush last week. So one big explosive play, he gets you almost all the way there. And with such a low total, he does not need that many carries to get over against the worst rush defense. So I'll take a look at Roschon Johnson over 31.5 rushing yards. He literally is an oldie but a goodie. Adam Thielen is an oldie, but so far he's been a goodie. It looks like Bryce Young is going to play. You're still going to go with over 51.5 receiving yards. What'd you find out about this play?
So he's cleared this number in 2 of 3 weeks so far this season. And last week with Dalton at quarterback, he had 145. So I loved this play with Andy Dalton at quarterback. I still like it with Bryce Young at quarterback. I don't want to call it a revenge spot. I know we don't agree with those revenge. I know you don't like the revenge spot thing sometimes, but this is where Thielen played his whole career. He played with the Vikings. It has to be his entire career. And it has to be in his head that he's going up against his former team. I feel like he gives an extra effort in this one for sure. And he also has a great matchup here. The Vikings, 7th most passing yards allowed so far this season. They've allowed 3 receivers to go over 120 yards, and they've allowed 6 to go 50 plus so far in 3 games. It's going to be a high scoring game. When the Vikings are involved, it always is. And I'm looking at Thielen to get the job done, regardless of who's at quarterback. If Dalton does come into the game, I'd like it even more at that point. I would have loved this play with Dalton, like I said, but with Young at quarterback, I still like it. It's a low total at 51.5. Give me the over.
Wonder what the total would have been if Dalton was at quarterback. What if they would have left it the same, or if it would have gone over 60? I mean, Dalton was just giving Thielen the ball nonstop.
I think it goes up a little bit. Yeah, I think it would go up a little bit, probably like, maybe 60 or something like that. But they don't make those. They're not very aggressive with those changes sometimes. But yeah, I think probably 60 or so would be right.
All right, so there is 6 NFL player props, and what do we have up for today? Well, we've got our NFL 5% best bet. Go grab that. We're 3-0 this season. We're 24-9 the last 2 seasons. I mean, this has just been our bread and butter in the NFL. We also have an MLB play today closing out the regular season. So those are 2 plays that we have up. No UFC this weekend, but we do also have our college football play that is up 4-0 in that one. So we got a lot of things going on there. And if you want to use the promo code Andy100, it gets $100 off a football season pass. You can use it in NFL, or you can use it for the NFL and college football combo. So a lot of things going on there. We're going to continue to be low volume, but man, the quality of plays that we have, really, really happy and looking to continue the NFL momentum after a nice cash last night. So, but most important, go grab that NFL 5% best bet. All right, Steve, let us get to the fade of the day. And yeah, I talked about Brandon Cooks being a fade. He's hurt. It doesn't mean all of these wide receivers can't go under. This is turning out to be a really bad matchup for the Cowboys. Let's talk CD Lamb and why you like his under.
So CD Lamb, after 2 monster weeks in weeks 1 and 2, he plummeted down to 53 yards last week against Arizona. And the big thing in that game was that the Cowboys' offensive line was banged up. They didn't have the time to throw the ball effectively. And now in come the Patriots, 5th-ranked pass defense, and we know what Belichick likes to do, take away his opponent's best weapon, and I think that's going to be CD Lamb this week. He held Belichick and the Patriots held Tyreek Hill to 40 yards. They held Garrett Wilson at 48 yards, and we got a total of 69 and a half in this one. Look for Christian Gonzalez to have to be defending CD Lamb for the majority of the game, and look for him to go under in this one. I feel like it's going to be one where Belichick again takes away the best player from the opposing team, like we've seen him do so many times in the past.
Yeah, that Christian Gonzalez is just like, I mean, any defensive coordinator would love to have him, but the elite defensive coaches, man, you get a guy like Gonzalez, doesn't he just open up everything for the defense? You don't have to worry about him. Like you have 10 other
Yeah,
guys that you can plan the defense around. You're one of the locals up there. I mean, this is like one of the steals of the draft, isn't it?
yeah, he's been a stud from day one, and he's shutting things down. And Belichick loves drafting those defensive players and the guys that on draft day the crowd doesn't necessarily cheer for these draft picks, but these are the guys that build the defense and build a winning team.
Be nice if he could do that with a wide receiver once in a millennium, but
Yeah,
it's all right.
you
It's
can't
all
win them
right.
all. You can't be great. You can't be great at everything.
No, I'll be interested to see. CD Lamb has been lining up in the slot. Was it over 63% of the time? I'll be interested. It's gonna be a good chess match. Now, of course, if you're if you're playing chess, you're taking Belichick over Mike McCarthy. But I'll be interested to see if they move CD Lamb around and what the defense is. But yeah, nice play. I think that Patriots defense looks primed for a good week. All right, sleeper of the day. Tell me if you've heard this before. The Texans give up a lot of rushing touchdowns. Last week we talked about Tank Bigsby getting a touchdown. He had 2 carries and one was for a touchdown. So I'm going to go right back to a running back that is not projected as a starter, but Jaylen Warren gets way more touches than Tank Bigsby does. So I'll take plus 155. Texans, they've given up 7 rushing touchdowns this season. Here's the thing. The Steelers have 0 rushing touchdowns. None. That is completely not sustainable. So they have 4 passing touchdowns. They have 2 defensive touchdowns and no rushing touchdown. There's no way that is going to continue. And talk about a get right spot for rushing the ball here. So I think Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris both have pretty good days here. I think Jaylen Warren, we cashed 5% on him to catch over 2.5 passes. I think he gets it done on the ground a little bit more. And wouldn't surprise me if Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren scored. But at the much, much better price, Jaylen Warren, they seem to like him maybe a little bit more than Najee Harris at this point. So I'm gonna roll the dice here that the Steelers are going to get at least 1 rushing touchdown, and that it comes from Jaylen Warren at this plus 155. So just gonna keep fading that Texans rush defense when they get in close. So that is the sleeper of the day. And Steve, you want to go to the stat of the day? This is a guy we really like, but wow, quite a record to hold for CJ Stroud.
Yeah, so CJ Stroud has thrown the most pass attempts without an interception to start a season for a rookie of all time. He is currently tied with Justin Herbert for most pass attempts without an interception at 121. His interception price this week is negative 110. And man, so this is a real coin flip one. Steelers do have 4 interceptions. They've had one game without an interception, but 2 in the other 2 games. In each of the other 2 games, I like Stroud this week. I'm going to give him. I'm going to say that he doesn't throw a pick this week. Goes another week without a pick. That would be great though. 4 weeks as a rookie without a pick to start his career. But I'm gonna say he doesn't throw one this week.
So I mentioned this is similar. This is very similar to the Jared Goff situation where Goff went 10 games without throwing. It was 9 or 10 games. It was, I believe, 347 pass attempts without an interception. And you and I both talked about it. We're like, this is not sustainable. And you and I love playing these streaks and playing these trends, but you have to realize when the trend is coming to the end. And it always feels like it's right when they either set a record or they're about to set a record or so Jared Goff, sure enough, what's happened, Steve? He's thrown 3 interceptions, 3 games in a row with an interception after everyone starts talking about this. I think he throws an interception. I think he throws one next week too. It's too hard to not throw interceptions in the NFL, let alone a rookie. But like, talk about an unsustainable trend. I don't know. I think he throws an interception the next couple games. Just the law of averages and the amount of times that they pass the ball and how bad their rush game is. I don't know what you're gonna roll the dice. He's gonna go 4 games in a row to start his career without an interception.
It's not getting my money, obviously, but it's something, obviously. But it's funny you say that though, because when I was thinking about saying yes, I was saying to myself, if he does throw one this week, he's going to throw one the next week as well. You know what I mean? Like once the air gets let out of the bottle, you know what I mean? It's just, that's it. You know what I mean? It's just going to keep flowing. So yeah, I just have this weird feeling though that he's going to have a big game in this one. So I'm just going to say no, just give him one more game without one. And then at that point in game 5, it'd almost be like, obviously it's isolated, but it's almost like a sure thing at that point. Not a sure thing, but you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was really 50-50 on this one though.
The other one that I think is coming to a screeching halt is when they started comparing Christian McCaffrey to Jerry Rice. His touchdown streak. I'm off of that one completely.
Yeah.
Just, you're not going to score a touchdown every single game in the NFL. That team has too many weapons.
Yeah, and the price is getting out of control with that one now as well.
Yeah. And once Twitter was all over that one, spewing out the exact same facts and the exact same stats, it's time to run for the hills. So
it's a kiss of death.
I would not put Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown in parlays. So I'll stay away from that one. And it's time for Survivor picks. This is not a week to get cute, I don't think. We're just going chalk here. I looked for some other ones. I looked to fade the Panthers. I just can't quite do it in their matchup. So I'm just going to use my Chiefs pick. They got the Jets. It's Zach Wilson. I don't think anything else needs to be said. So I kind of like to save some of the bigger teams. But I looked ahead and I got a couple good matchups the next couple weeks with teams that I have not used yet. So I'll roll with the Chiefs to roll into New York and go ahead and take care of business. Obviously, you don't need a spread involved. Just need a money line here. So I'll take the Chiefs. And Steve, you're kind of doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, I already used up the Chiefs, so I don't have them available. I'll take the biggest spread I have left on the board. Eagles -9. They're at home. Commanders. That defense looks like it's been exposed, allowing 37 and 33 the last 2 weeks. I think the Eagles crush them here, and we'll hopefully both advance again.
Yeah, leave your Survivor pick down in the comment section if you've advanced. And I think Chiefs and Eagles are going to be popular. The problem is a lot of people have used them already. So we'll see how the Survivor pool goes. Tough week though. Tough week if you've already used a couple of these big teams. I've seen the Broncos are a popular pick, which I love. I love. I love people are picking the Broncos coming off of a complete drubbing. That they're gonna take the Broncos. I thoroughly enjoyed that. So, um, all right,
Just
guys.
shows what people think about the Bears, though, right?
Yeah, right. That's Chicago too. Uh, so get your survivor pick in, and guys, don't forget to leave us a like. One more time, recap stat of the day. CJ Stroud yet to throw an interception this season. That's a rookie record. Our sleeper of the day, we like Jalen Warren, anytime touchdown, going up against those Texans that can't keep any running backs out of the end zone. Fade of the day, we're looking to fade CD Lamb against that tough Patriots pass defense with Christian Gonzalez. And NFL 5% best bet is up. Go ahead and grab that at WagerTalk. We also got the MLB play of the day and our college football best bet. That is 4-0. We are the last undefeated college football handicapper at WagerTalk. Number one in winning percentage. And 6 NFL player props. Keep your eye on Tyler Boyd over 3.5 receptions. Jerome Ford under his rushing. Mike Evans over 4.5 receptions. Derrick Henry under his rushing. Roshan Johnson over 31.5 rushing, and Adam Thielen over 51.5 receiving. That is going to do it for us. We will be back Sunday morning with an action-packed show. Sunday, we're going to go over our first quarter unders. I believe we will be in play for at least one, maybe 2 first quarter unders. So we'll talk about our strategy for those, and we will launch the first quarter under campaign for this week. We'll also have our alt lines, parlays, our same game parlays, our anytime touchdowns, and the final line movement for all the player props. So don't forget to join us on Sunday morning. Thanks, everyone. Let's have a great Friday. Good luck on your bets, and we'll see everyone next time on the Road to Millions.
Good luck.